For our first shape assignment, you will set up a simple still life that consists of negative shapes and positive shapes. Negative shapes are marked in orange. Negative shapes are formed through spaces between positive shapes. Positive shapes are the objects themselves. For this assignment, we are going to be working reductively. So the first thing you're going to do is coat your page with powdered charcoal. Do not use your brush as a regular paintbrush and go back and forth. Instead, you want to do tiny circular motions that really has pressure to it. This way, you're grinding the charcoal particles into the page. This part of the process does release tiny bits of charcoal into the air, so you may want to be wearing your mask as you're doing this part. Now you're ready to start observing your still life. You'll take your kneaded eraser and use this to document all the areas that you see positive shapes. Positive shapes, again, are the objects themselves, so you'll be documenting the objects that you put together. Hopefully your negative shapes will form as you're creating your positive shapes. Once you've recorded all of your positive shapes, you can now start going in with your compressed charcoal to document and observe the negative shapes, or the spaces in between your positive shapes. During this step in the process, you really need to train yourself to look past the positive shapes. You need to look in between those objects to really capture the negative shapes. As you're noticing negative shape proportions, hopefully when you put them next to your positive shapes, they're correcting any proportional mistakes you may have made at the beginning. The positive shapes and negative shapes need to fit together like a puzzle piece in order for all the proportions to match up correctly. Consider this a game of comparing and contrasting. The positive shapes make up the foreground and the negative shapes make up the background. Your finished product for this piece should be in high contrast, consisting only of black and white. For assignment 2, you will split your piece of paper into 2 separate sections. You will develop 2 separate compositions. One will be geometric shapes, and the other will be organic shapes. For the first, pick one geometric shape and draw it repeatedly in different ways to create a composition. You can experiment with overlapping, you can experiment with balance and size and shape. You want to have lots of unity and variety, yet you also want to have a focal point. Questions to ask yourself include, do I want to make these shapes 3D, or will they be more relevant 2D? How will this affect the drawing? How will this affect the composition? Do I want to elongate the shape, or do I want to make them small, large? Do I want to add value? How will I create balance in this composition? For the next composition, you will choose an organic shape. An organic shape is irregular or free-flowing. I've chosen to do spilled milk. You could do something like a seashell, a feather. There's endless organic shapes to choose from. While working with elements of design, be sure to be thinking about all of the principles of design that were within your packet, entitled Principles of Design. When creating a composition, be sure to be thinking of balance, rule of thirds, unity and variety, and motion.